Hello and welcome. You're watching Ask BQ on Bloomberg Quint. I'm Pradeep Pandya.
Hi everyone, and I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza. Well, this is the show where we address all your stock queries. You can write to us on Twitter, Facebook, or just call us on 022-4540-4141. You can also mail us at askbq@bloombergquint.com with all your financial queries, and we'll try and address as many as possible on the show. Just remember to add the AskBQ hashtag.
And let's look at how markets are doing right now after a strong opening. Indices have been moving in a narrow range, holding on to the gains actually. If you look at India VIX, VIX is down by a further 3% today after correcting quite a bit yesterday, which is again positives, kind of helping bulls holding on to their positions. Mid cap and small cap are also doing well, in fact doing better than the benchmark indices. I would say look at the mid cap index, which is up by 1%. Even small cap index has gained quite a bit. Some of the interesting stocks, if you talk about New India Assurance, is up 5%. After a significant correction post-listing, stock has seen a lot of activity today. Motherson Sumi, Steel Authority, REC would be a few more names which are doing well. Page Industries has interestingly gone up by another 3% after gaining 4 to 5% in yesterday's trade. So these are some of the key movers as far as the larger stocks are concerned. If you move to mid caps, you'll have Jan Irrigation and Jan Irrigation DVR both doing well, up by around 9%. Jan Irrigation is the stock that we are talking about. Focus might shift towards rural economy. That's the bet market players are taking, among others. You also have some of the high beta names like Delta Corp up 6%, BEML up around 3.5-4%, and also GSFC is up 3.5%. Jet Airways is another key mover in today's trade. So net market is looking quite positive.
Well, clearly, and the day belongs to the broader markets. We've seen good market breadth, in fact, in today's trade. But on that note, let's get in our two experts of the day. Amit Shah of Bank of Baroda Capital Markets and Parthiv Shah of Tracom Stock Brokers are here to answer all your queries. Welcome to the show, gentlemen, and good afternoon to both of you. Good afternoon. Okay, let's move on and take our first query of the day. Anil Goyal writes to us on WhatsApp. He wants to invest in Gujarat Pipavav Ports with a one-year view. He wants to know if this is the right time to put his money into this counter. I'll take this question to Amit. How does it look on the charts? Should one look at entering Gujarat Pipavav Ports at these levels?
See, well, the stock was in a decent uptrend. If you see on the long-term time frame till 2015, it has moved consistently. But since then, it has been making a lower top, lower bottom formation. The broader structure still is positive, but however, one needs to wait for a confirmation. It has taken a decent support around 127, 125 watt band. And once it starts sustaining above 150, 155, that would be a good breakout level where one can consider to enter in for a long position. So at this point, I would think it's more about the position sizing where one can start investing gradually, and above 155, one can place a heavy bet.
Above 155, one can increase the bet. That is the call coming in on Gujarat Pipavav. Anish Kapoor writes to us on Twitter. He has 1,500 shares of Ujas Energy bought at 38 rupees. He wants to know whether he should hold on to it or sell. Have you seen this chart?
On the
Ujas Energy is the stock we're talking about.
Ujas, well, the stock has been consistently in a downtrend and has been making a lower top, lower bottom formation. So I would recommend it's an exit, pure exit, because there are multiple hurdles on the upside. Once it starts breaking below 20, I think the stock can test towards 17, 16 odd levels. So definitely one can exit at these levels because on the every upside there are multiple resistance, and unless and until it is not crossing 28 mark, which is very much on the higher side, the stock will continue to witness selling pressure.
Okay, Parthiv, do you also have a view on Ujas?
Yes, I kind of agree in terms of avoiding this counter. The reason being that this is a company which is into the solar-related renewable energy space, wherein they do supply the EPC contracts, and also I think they have the solar-related solutions. But I think one inherent weakness in this particular business model is, I think we have always seen that these renewable sources of energy, they lose the limelight when the other traditional sources of energy in terms of generation of power, I think they become more cost-effective. For example, if the coal prices go down and if the other like fuel cost and energy costs go down, we have always seen a trend wherein these renewable sources of energy, they are really struggling to generate proper IRR. So I think Ujas Energy as such, I think we are not really gung-ho on this space, and I think it's better to be very, very selective. And this is definitely not the company, because I think at times when they don't have orders in hand, it becomes very, very difficult for cash flow generation, and that's the point in time when the stock tends to highly underperform. So I think definitely Ujas Energy is an exit call from my end.
Okay, that's the view on Ujas Energy, a company with a market cap of almost 450 crore. Let's move on and take some more queries. Pankaj Sardana is calling us from Jaipur. Hi Pankaj, good afternoon to you and thanks a lot for calling us today. Tell us what's your query on?
It's on Tata Coffee. I have purchased 1,000 shares at 173, 45 days view.
Okay, and Pankaj, when exactly did you buy the shares of Tata Coffee?
A fortnight back.
A fortnight back, and you have a view of, you want to keep it for the next 2 months, is it?
Okay.
Okay, I'll just get a view going in from Amit then on the charts. How does Tata Coffee look? He's bought 1,000 shares at 173. I think the current price is around 163. He can hold it for the next 2 months. What do you think he should do?
So definitely the stock is looking quite strong. It has been making a good structure around 160, 170 odd band. And I think it's just a matter of time. Once it starts sustaining above 165, the stock can see a good amount of breakout towards 185, 190 odd levels. So a definite hold. In fact, even on dips, one can add more positions.
Okay, so that is a call coming in here on Tata Coffee. We're getting lots of your queries on Facebook, Twitter, and also other social media platforms. Let's move on to a query from Dhananjay Singh. He wants to invest in GMR Infra with a long-term view. Parthiv, today this stock is doing well, I guess, because of the order that they have received as a PPP contract for a new airport. Stock is up just by around 2% in today's trade. Do you think it's a good investment option?
See, I must admit that GMR as the infrastructure play, which was really having a lot of debt, has definitely made a lot of efforts to cut down on their debt levels. And I think to some stage, I must say they've even been successful. So maybe I think no doubt they have continuously diluted the equity, which does not bode well in terms of the ROIs that these infrastructure companies who continuously dilute the equity generate. So I think this company has a clear strategy to focus on the higher margin, higher cash flow generating business, which is the airport EPC and airport maintenance business. And probably going down the line, I won't be surprised if they'll end up selling many of the other power related assets, where still I think the PLFs are not at a respectable mark for them to generate sufficient cash flows, and could again add to the worries of this company. So I think a lot more restructuring is on the cards. I believe it's a very high risk, high return type of a stock. I think the risks are evident in terms of the resolutions for their road projects, for their power projects don't work up. The only good vertical that is currently they're having is the airport vertical. Had it been only an airport managing company as a separate vertical, I think I would definitely advocate a buy. But otherwise, I think GMR as a consolidated entity, I'm not really a big fan of. And I believe there are other far better names. One name that I would like to suggest in a similar infrastructure sector would be the Ahmedabad-based company PSP Projects. I think fantastic execution, clean working capital cycle. They're almost debt-free. They recently won a huge order for Surat Diamond City, which is 1,500 crores of order. So the order visibility is very good. And for companies which are executing well on the order book, I think good days are ahead for such infrastructure players.
In fact, Spark Capital had initiated a buy rating on PSP Projects, Parthiv, with a target price of almost 640. The stock today is doing, it's trading in the positive territory, but look at the returns of last 12 months. It's up almost 160%. Let's take some more queries from Facebook. Akshay Rao has written to us. He's bought 500 shares of Bharti Airtel at 531. He's got 1 year view. He wants to know what should he do. Well, looks like he's purchased at higher levels. Parthiv, what's the view on Bharti Airtel? If you look at the stock price, it has given you returns in the last 1 year, but there was a lot of skepticism with entry of Reliance Jio. What would happen to the incumbent players like Bharti Airtel and Idea? In fact, recently we've had a couple of brokerages too who have turned bullish on Bharti Airtel. What would you advise Akshay to do?
See, I had given a contrarian buy view on the telecom sector, especially names like Bharti Airtel, which was, I think, one of the favorite plays. The only reason being that despite all the competition, all the disruption that Reliance Jio is doing, at some stage, they will have to rationalize their pricing, and which they already shown signs of. And now there are talks of, that company also turning around in terms of they can't endlessly have that 1.5 lakh crore worth of an investment not generate any cash flows and returns. So I think that's the theme that that we are playing on the telecom sector, wherein a player like Bharti Airtel, which has sufficient spectrum, which has continuously added assets like the Tata Tele deal, the Uninor deal, and plus I think most importantly, last quarter was very encouraging in terms of the turnaround that they had shown from their South African business. So I think they are making good inroads, and going ahead in time, despite the heavy capex that they'll need for further upgrading the technology and scalability, I believe that any sort of deleveraging move that they can take place from the South African business will be a key trigger for the stock. So not only for 1 year, but I think I'm very comfortable even holding on to this stock at current levels for the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, so that's the call coming in on Bharti Airtel. Mohit Kheskani has written to us on Facebook, and he has bought shares of Kaya at 973 with a 6-month view. Although he's looking at a shorter-term view, but Parthiv, I'll prefer a fundamental opinion because it's not very often that we discuss it, and it's not a very liquid stock either. There is a lot of interest among investors and traders so far as Kaya is concerned, but do you really think fundamentally it's a good stock? Is the company really able to grow the business and earnings?
I think know that this is a company which is a spin-off from a very good managed company which is Marico. And Kaya as a business model, I think initially when the company was demerged and the management was talking post the con calls, I think the scalability of business at that point in time was looking quite visible, and the way the business model was, it seemed that it could be a very good concept stock which would be focusing on the right demographics for especially a country like India. No doubt they also have presence in the Middle East, but somehow I think looking at the quarterly results and the numbers and the margins that they earn, it seems like I think it's not gone the way that they're probably thought, and that is why I think of late we have seen the stock kind of being an underperformer, and especially giving a 6-month view for such a business model which might take longer to scale up. I think I would say an avoid call if you have only a 6-month.
Okay, Parthiv, we'll have to cut you here. Let's go to Rajya Sabha and hear out the debate on GST.
Should have come down by at least 20% at the retail level. But at the end of October 2017, the price of petrol was the same as it was in May 2014.
Please, what is your question?
And the price of diesel was 1 rupee more than in May 2014. Question is, now that the BJP is in power in 19 states, as they rightfully claim, and they are in power in center, what prevents the government from moving the GST Council to decide that petroleum products should be immediately brought under GST?
Honorable Minister, ये कौन सी पार्टी कहाँ पावर में है वो तो हमारा इश्यू है नहीं.
Sir, the honourable member, when he has asked me this question, is certainly familiar with the whole issue, and in fact more than familiar. He'll recollect that when UPA was in power, they knew the limitations as far as petroleum is concerned. So in the Constitution amendment which was proposed, the 115th amendment, petroleum was kept out completely of the GST. The UPA Constitution amendment draft proposals presented before the Parliament did not include petroleum products ever to be a part of the GST itself. Because the UPA well knew that it will be a deal breaker if you between the center and the states if you bring petroleum in, and therefore you did not even make an effort. Now that you are in opposition, you have a far greater flexibility in reversing your position. That's a different matter. After a great deal of consultation, we had managed to persuade all the states to agree to bring GST to petroleum within the GST itself. But the states reluctantly agreed to do so. In the initial drafts, they were not agreeing. In meeting after meeting of the Empowered Committee, we persuaded them. And finally, the deal with the states was that petroleum will be brought in the GST as far as the Constitution amendment is concerned. It's only when the states decide and agree upon it that the council will have the power to then decide to bring the petroleum into the GST. As far as the central government is concerned, we are in favor of bringing it. Let me categorically state this. We are in favor, but we would await the consensus of the states And I do hope at some stage, sooner than later, the states agree to the consensus. As far as the October 17 prices that you have mentioned, yes, we are equally concerned as far as the petroleum prices are concerned. There was a rise as far as the crude prices were concerned. Therefore, we did bring down some central duties. We also wrote to all the states to bring down the state duties. Please don't forget that a large part of the taxation on petroleum is also the state taxes itself, on petroleum itself. And I'm glad a number of states governed by the BJP brought the prices down. The UPA states singularly refused to bring the prices down as far as the petroleum is concerned in October.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Sri K.T. Tulsi.
According to the question, part C is whether the government of Telangana has gone to the Supreme Court on GST.
So that was the debate in Rajya Sabha on GST rollout, and Finance Minister categorically said that government is determined to bring petroleum products under GST sooner rather than later. Let's move on to the next query now. On social media and on Facebook, Harsha Kothari has written to us. He has bought 100 shares of Godavari Power at 250 with a one-year view. Well, Godavari Power is buzzing today. There is a favorable report on this stock as well, and stock has definitely benefited. Last I checked, it was up around 15%. Yes, 15%, 14.8 to be precise. Parthiv, what's your call on Godavari Power?
Given a buy call on this stock when it was a lot lower at around 100-110 levels, and the rationale for, I think, still being very bullish on this counter, and I think 1 year is quite a respectable time frame for the stock. We know that currently, I think this is a company which is focused mainly on pellets and sponge iron, and they also have their own iron ore mine, which is sufficient to, I think, cater to their almost 70% needs for now. And as and when the mining goes up, it can be, I think, 100% captive usage, which will really bring down the cost further. And currently, I think the way, especially the sponge iron prices and the pellet prices are hovering, I think the spreads have improved a lot for this company. No doubt, I think the first half was quite decent if we compare year on year, but we are even more bullish on the second half. Quarter 3 and quarter 4 could be even better. And I think this is a classic play where I think this company had debt related issues, and now they are, I think, in the deleveraging mode. They can even, I think, refinance their loans by upping their ratings. So I think all these are positive signs going ahead. Plus, I think they have other assets like the subsidiary company Ardent Steel, which is also operating a pellet plant which is totally catering to exports at China, and the Chinese demand for pellets is extremely high. So good realizations being earned from there as well. So on a consolidated level, I think this is a company which can easily do an EBITDA of around 450-500 crores, giving it a 6 times price to earning EV by EBITDA multiple. I think still there's an upside to this counter.
Okay, so Parthiv feels that there could be more upside for Godavari Power, a counter which has been in focus in today's session as it's up with gains of almost 15%. Let's take some more queries on Facebook. Sanjeev Trehan has written to us. Sanjeev bought 300 shares of Tech Mahindra at a price of 490 rupees, and Sanjeev's got a 2-year view. He wants to know what should he do. Before I go to Parthiv to get a fundamental view on Tech Mahindra, I just want to get a technical check on this. Amit, how does it look on the charts? At 490, do you see there is, one can expect higher levels from here?
Well, as per my view, I think the IT will perform in short term, and considering Tech Mahindra, the way it has consolidated at the lower band from on the downtrend from 750 to 400 on odd levels, I think it has made a good bottoming around 400 to 450 odd zone. And once it starts moving above 510, 505 odd levels, I think the stock is poised for a good move towards 575, 580 odd levels.
575 or 580 are the levels which Amit suggests on the charts. But Parthiv, from the IT pack, do you like Tech Mahindra?
See, yes, I think the business model of this company is kind of unique. I think they've bet on a lot of inorganic acquisitions, and most of the inorganic acquisitions that they've done, I think they come at a very low margin when they do the acquisitions, and their ability lies in turning those companies around and scaling them and making them better in terms of the margin profile. And I think signs were evident in the last quarter, and I think definitely I believe that the stock is available quite cheap if we compare with the rest of the IT pack. And I think giving it a 2-year time frame, I find it very confident that from here this counter will deliver very good returns. And I think we have a rock solid management out here who is focusing also on the latest digital technology, automation. So I think they're doing all the right things in terms of scalability of the new generation IT businesses. And if they can really scale up the margins of their past acquisitions, I think then definitely this story can be very good. So giving it a 2-year time frame, I think definitely I'm not bearish from here. I would suggest a hold, and I think over the next 2 years this stock can really give decent upsides.
Okay, Sanjeev, Parthiv suggests a hold on Tech Mahindra, and you also have a 2-year view, and the charts also, according to Amit, he expects higher levels going ahead for Tech Mahindra. Let's take more queries. This one comes from Satya Subhash. He wants to invest in Meghmani Organics, and he's got a long-term view. He wants to know whether he should put his money here or not. Parthiv, I'll take this question to you. Meghmani Organics, do you track this counter? If yes, would you advise somebody to deploy their money here?
Yes, absolutely. I think, again, this is a counter which is an Ahmedabad-based company. They're mainly into the pigments, agrochemicals, and specialty chemical segment. And all these three verticals for the company are doing extremely well. And I think this is a company which had done a huge 500 crore capex, post which now they're enjoying the benefits of higher price realization, especially in caustic soda. I think their realization has gone up very, very well. And their even chloromethane plant is going to come up sometime in March 2018. Which is going to add to value. Plus, they have added a caustic potash plant, which is giving very high margins. And now they are definitely diversifying into the specialty chemical segment. So I think it's a company which can, over the course of next 2 to 3 years, do a top line of anywhere between 2,500 to max 3,000 crores. And I think they can easily command margins of 20%. So it's a company which will be doing an EBITDA of 500, 600 crores and currently available at a market cap of around 3,000 crores. So I believe over the next 1 or 2 years, and I think this chemical cycle in terms of, I think the price realization, thanks to the problems in China, is there to sustain. So they can even go back and start deleveraging their balance sheet, which will add to the value of the shareholders. So I think over the next 1 or 2 years, we are very confident that even from here, I think Meghmani Organics can give very good returns.
Okay, so Parthiv is positive on Meghmani Organics. Let's move on to the next query on FB. We have Nitesh Jain writing to us. He's looking for a stock idea, actually, either trading or investment. Amit, any trading ideas you would like to give him?
Well, the stock in the short term, it's looking quite strong, and I feel after
which stock?
Idea, right?
No, I said he wants an idea. Anything that you like, a stock that you could recommend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not the idea. Okay, cellular.
Okay. So I recommend Dabur. Dabur, after a good consolidation and a flag formation, the stock has consolidated briefly around 340 to 350 odd mark. I think one can just invest at these levels and look for an upside towards 570 to 580 levels. The risk reward looks very much favorable on the short term as well as on the long term time frame. Even on the long-term structure, the stock has made a good rounding formation at the higher end from 320 to 260 odd levels. Based on the projection of the target, it clearly indicates that this counter can head towards 380 to 400 levels on the upside.
Okay, so Amit likes Dabur India from trading perspective. He is expecting a level of 380 to 400 in the near future. Let's take Manoj Hirani's query. He's bought 200 shares of Capacite Infra and he's bought at a price of 404. He wants a 1-year view on Capacite Infra. Parthiv, a recent listing which has done well. Do you think Amit should hold, pardon me, I think the viewer name was Manoj. Should he hold it in the next 1 year?
Yes, absolutely. Again, I'm very bullish on this counter, and my particular infra theme is going to be, I think, the stocks who are very good at execution, who have a rock solid balance sheet, who are upping their order intake. And these are not the type of companies who just love to brag about having a very big order book without proper execution or without good margins. They always are very selective in the order intake, and the orders that they take, I think, especially looking at its last 5-7 years track record, I think this company has done phenomenally well. And I think the CAGR growth in the top line, I think that has been very, very respectable. But I think as and when the top line has grown, we have seen a huge operating leverage kicking in, and we've seen a huge the growth in the bottom line. So they've scaled up their margins. So I think we are very confident it has a very healthy, respectable order book size of upwards of 5,000 crore. And plus, I think they're taking projects selectively, though in a slightly risky real estate space. They are very prestigious clients, I think, who are cash rich and who can really have not any issue in terms of the receivables. So I think Capacity Infra over the next 1 or 2 years, I still believe, I think it can do very well from here.
So capacity infra is a buy according to Parthiv. Harshvardhan wants a view on future supply chain with a long-term perspective. Parthiv, what do you say?
Recent IPO and the business is good. The third-party logistics, we are extremely bullish on this name along with Mahindra Logistics. But I think this company even does better EBITDA margins as compared to Mahindra Logistics, which might scale up the margins later on. But I think they're doing around 13-14% type of a margin. And recently the management was quite upbeat, especially after the e-way bills. I think that is, also going to be very helpful to them according to their commentary. And again, I think this is a business model which is very much scalable. And I think they don't have much debt, and I think they need not take much debt for growing ahead to scale up their volumes. And no doubt currently 70% of the business comes from the parent, which is also growing very well. But the management is also targeting non-parent business, which can really help and cheer the street. So I think these are the special logistic companies which are not very high in terms of the market cap. If you see, the market cap is somewhere around 2,000, 3,000 crore. And the size of the opportunity that India gives, I think, is immense. So over the next 5 to 10 years, I believe these companies who are focused on the right technologies in the logistics space are the ones who will deliver and really scale up, and a lot of unorganized competition is going to move out, which will help them to get a better pricing power. So yes, I think definitely a hold and can be a very good compounder going ahead.
और 3 महीने में गुजरात ने और गुजरात की जनता ने मुझे बहुत सिखाया, और मेन बात ये सिखाई है कि चाहे आपका जो विपक्ष हो, आपसे जिसकी लड़ाई है, वो चाहे उसमें जितना भी क्रोध हो, जितना भी गुस्सा हो, जितना भी पैसा हो, जितना भी धन हो, जितनी भी फोर्स हो, उसको आप प्यार से, भाईचारे से टक्कर दे सकते हैं। और ये शायद गांधी जी ने पहले देश को सिखाया था, मगर ये बात गुजरात के दिल के अंदर है और बहुत गहरी है। और ये जो आपने देखा गुजरात के चुनाव में, ये वो फीलिंग है। ये मेरा काम नहीं है। गुजरात ने मोदी जी को और बीजेपी को मैसेज दिया है, ये जो गुस्सा आप में है, जो क्रोध आप में है, ये आपके काम नहीं आएगा और इसको प्यार हरा देगा। तो ये मुझे मेन मैसेज गुजरात ने दिया, और मैं गुजरात के लोगों को, हिमाचल प्रदेश के लोगों को दिल से धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं, और जो चुनाव जीते हैं उनको मैं बधाई देना चाहता हूं।
मोदी ने कहा कि जातिवाद की हार है और जीएसटी पर मोहर है, जीएसटी पर मोहर है, आने वाले वक्त में विकास मुद्दा होगा। सर, जातिवाद पे हार है और जीएसटी पर मोहर है, ये मोदी ने कल बोला। 2019 का
भैया, इस चुनाव में देखिए, मोदी जी ने बोला है कि विकास का चुनाव है, उन्होंने बोला कि जीएसटी पर मोहर है। अजीब सी बात है, चुनाव में उनके भाषणों में ना विकास की बात हो रही थी, ना जीएसटी की मोहर की बात हो रही थी, ना नोटबंदी की बात हो रही थी। मोदी जी की क्रेडिबिलिटी पे बहुत बड़ा सवाल उठ गया है, एंड फ्रैंकली मोदी जी हैज अ क्रेडिबिलिटी प्रॉब्लम, एंड ही विल फाइंड इट वेरी डिफिकल्ट। उनको बहुत मुश्किल लगेगा, क्योंकि जो वो कह रहे हैं, वो उनकी जो फोर्सेस हैं, उनका जो संगठन है, उसको वो रिपीट कर रहा है, मगर देश उसको सुन नहीं रहा है। ये गुजरात के चुनाव ने दिखाया, और ये आपको आने वाले समय में बहुत अच्छी तरह दिखेगा। देखिए, तो सिंपल सी बात है, मैं क्रेडिबिलिटी की बात करता हूं। मोदी जी ने भ्रष्टाचार की बात नॉन स्टॉप करी। आज राफेल के मामले में और जय शाह के मामले में मोदी जी के मुंह से एक शब्द क्यों नहीं निकलता है? देश ये जानना चाहता है कि आपने नॉन स्टॉप भ्रष्टाचार की बात की। जय शाह, अमित शाह के पुत्र ने 50,000 रुपए को 80 करोड़ में 3 महीने में बदला। राफेल में घपला हुआ है, आप इसके बारे में एक शब्द क्यों नहीं कहते हो? ये है क्रेडिबिलिटी इशू। थैंक यू।
So that's the first press briefing from Rahul Gandhi, I believe, after the Gujarat election outcomes. And he thinks that this could be a beginning for Congress, really, a fresh beginning for Congress. And he is looking forward to challenge BJP in forthcoming elections next year. I think Karnataka in May will be the next closely watched contest.
You've got Karnataka and a couple of the northeastern states, I guess.
Yeah, smaller ones.
Yeah, we're running out of time here. We'd like to thank both our guests, Parthiv as well as Amit. Thanks a lot for joining us today and helping our viewers with their queries. And that's all that we have on this edition of Ask BQ.
But remember, you can write to us, you can mail to us, and also through all the social media platforms, you could connect with us. You can also log on to BloombergQuint.com, search for #AskBQ, and get answers to all the queries that were discussed on the show. Power Lunch is up next. Keep watching Bloomberg Quint Live.